Manx Radio's Countryside is brought to you by NFU Mutual.
Hello and welcome to the last in the current series of Countryside here on Manx Radio. I'm Simon Clark.
And I'm Kiri Kermode. I went along to the Food and Drink Festival at the Villa Marina Gardens.
And I catch up with Nigel Taylor to find out the latest news from the world of fur and feather. Well, a very successful 2 days at the Isle of Man Food and Drink Festival that you attended, Kiri, and you were on duty and getting bits and pieces from it as well, so a busy time for you.
That was right, a really enjoyable 2 days, and it's certainly gone from strength to strength over the last 10 years. I think it might have been touching 8,000 or 10,000 people over the weekend in attendance. Families, children, everybody really enjoying the atmosphere. And what a great spell of weather it was on the Saturday too. It definitely drew the crowds. And I caught up with some of the people there. Lee Mayers, a very, very busy weekend for you here at the Food and Drink Festival with your butchery. What a display.
Yeah, it's been absolutely cracking. It's been non-stop and we've had such good feedback. Obviously the chef's been cooking our stuff as well as they're trying stuff coming over, and yeah, it's gone really well and it's got our name out there, which is important. Yeah. So, yeah.
How important is it for you to source the right product to sell?
Very important. I mean, we're doing the old traditional way of doing things, so it's important. And with the traceability now we're getting, customers are really happy. They know where it's coming from. They can chase it back to the farm. It's brilliant. And
do you think that is really important to your customers?
Yeah, it is, definitely. We're seeing a lot of customers wanting to know more about where everything's come from. They want to know what they're eating. They want to know where it's bred. Obviously, the Manx meats now is a big thing. So, yeah, we're just pushing it as much as we can, and the customers are liking it, and that's what it's all about.
And what is your favourite item? There's so many to choose from, you know, you've got a great display of beef, lamb and pork.
Yeah, obviously steaks, you can't go wrong with a good steak. Sirloin, ribeyes, that sort of thing, anything I'm not fussy, me, really. As long as it's been hung on my shop, I'm not bothered.
But a few of the customers that I've heard just while I've been waiting to talk to you, the maple sticky syrup sausages, you know, the glazes that you put on them, the marinades, it seems to make a difference.
Very much so. We only started off with about 3 or 4 tubs of these marinades, and since we've started to put on, obviously it brings a lot of colour to your counters, so it does brighten up your display. But yeah, people are looking for something different, something already they can just cook straight away, and it's a lot easier for them, and they're getting a lot of flavour from it too, so they're happy, and they taste really nice.
Yeah. And this is where I'm going to bring Phil Parsons in, the plant manager from Isle of Man Meats, to support a butcher in Lee Mayers, providing the products for him to sell. It must be a credit to the farmers and to the plant.
It is a credit to everybody, and if you look at some of the products that Lee's got on for sale, you know, it's really good. People are coming back and buying more today, the second day. Obviously, with the tastings, they're tasting it before they want to buy it, and they definitely go and buy what they're tasting. Yeah. So whatever Lee's putting through that side, you can see a change in what they buy behind it, and it's good quality. Yes, he's got a lot of marinades on, but even the standard cuts are of a good quality and flavour, and they're going just as well. So it's just something different. I think what he's got on there with the different colours you can see all the way down it makes a difference.
Rachel Ranson, another busy weekend for you with Ballackelly here, inundated with people purchasing and staff and everybody running around helping.
It's been brilliant, lovely end to our season, because Food Festival for us we class as like our year end. So it'll be staff parties now before the end of September, but yeah, we've had a wet year this year to say the least. So it's been nice. I know it's raining now, but it's held off till this last hour. So.
Yesterday, this marquee was absolutely chocker. You couldn't have fitted another person in it. It must be a good end for it.
It has. It's been brilliant. And the rain's actually washed the last few people in. So it's been good for us. Yeah. Farmer Al's wanting a word. He's wanting to just pull in that he is one of the main producers in this tent that's actually produced his product. Yeah. From start to finish.
And I think that is something that people are looking for. They want to know where their food comes. They want to know who grows it, who's looked after it. These things are really essential now. Maybe 10 years ago it didn't really matter, but do you see that as a change?
It's a huge change. I mean, this is our 4th food festival now, and even over this last 3 years of doing this job, the passion is getting stronger. And this last year, people have they come here to find us, which is lovely. And they love the fact that they can come to the farm on a Saturday and actually see who does it, who's behind it. It's more than just a label, and yeah, it's good.
And I think, like, you've got a good team of helpers here. I know there's a lad here been working tirelessly, you know, flipping the burgers, turning the bacon, the spit roasts outside, you know. So, Jason, you've been busy with the hog roast. It's something that people really, really want to come and try.
Yeah, it's quite a novelty thing as well. There's not many companies over here that actually do it, and again, to reflect what Rachel was saying, we produce it at Ballykelly, it's slaughtered at Alma Meats, we take it home, we prepare it, you guys eat it. So.
And do you think it's important that people are getting it as fresh as that?
Yeah, and I think that reflects in the taste as well. It's low, from farm to fork, low mileage, again, it's cared for well at home, and again, I think it massively reflects in the taste and the care that goes into the animal growing up. It reflects well on the product.
And how proud are you as a farm, you work at the farm, you're a farm worker, to see the animals strive and go on to be enjoyed?
Yeah, I mean, I come from a farming family, as you know, and it's, I think there's very few people out there that care and love the animals more than Alan does. There's a lot of hard work, and it's not just people you see at the stand, there's a team behind the farm, that working there today as we're stood here, so there's a lot of this. It's not just what you see on the outside, there's a lot more that goes into it behind the scenes as well. So.
Yeah, it's a good team effort, and like Rachel said, it is coming to the end of the year now. This is the final one. It's been busy.
It's been good. I say we had a bit disappointing Royal Show this year with the day being cancelled, but I think we made up for it a little while on the Saturday. We sold a good chunk of it, and we didn't quite make the Southern this year. Looking forward to Christmas. We've got the Christmas market coming up and everything else, and just nice wind down to the end of the year now, so it'll be good.
And Rachel, just nipping back to you, Christmas, Jason just pointed out, is only around the corner. Plenty of things in the pipeline.
I love Christmas, so for me, Christmas is not a sort of, oh no, it's Christmas. Very festive. But whilst you're on the topic of what we call the meat heroes, the people that help us, like Al and I would like to say a huge thank you to everyone around us, because without them we couldn't do this. Yeah. It's been a tough year for us, and they do help, and it's all the friends and family that come out of the woodwork that make it what it is.
And you've 2 young children, they come with you to all of these events. It must be hard on them, and you as a mum, to juggle it all about. But Alice, you really enjoy coming to these events?
Yeah.
What's your favourite part of the shows?
Selling.
Who has taught? Somebody has taught her well at Ballykelly. But it's the next generation though, Rachel.
It is the next generation, and these are the guys that are going to carry it on for us, so we can pave the way, but without them following in our shoes, there is going to be no farming world.
So exciting times. You're looking forward to Christmas, Alice?
Yeah.
What's your favourite part?
Presents.
Brian Brumby, we're inundated with families, children here at the Food and Drink Festival with the Manx NFU. It's been a fabulous 2 days.
Yeah, it's been very, very good. It's great to see so many people interested in the Manx produce and what we can offer and what we can supply to.
And here you've got a display of 2 lovely milking cows, you've got goats. Children are interacting. It's a huge part of life.
Yeah, well, they always say if you educate the children, you educate the parents, and the children drive the parents, and that's part of what we've got here. We've 2 angles to it. Yes, the kids, children are attracted into the goats and the cows and like to stroke them, but we've also got information posters around for the adults to read and update them on the Isle of Man and the produce that we're producing.
And has there been lots of interesting questions coming from the general public about how the Isle of Man farms?
Yeah, now that the Isle of Man has declared a climate change emergency, a lot of the questions are along those lines, and there's a lot of talk about agriculture and the way we're producing food and the carbon footprint. And as things work out with the Isle of Man, we are 50 years ago, we didn't go down the route of mass commercial farming. We have still got a lot of hedgerows, an average field size of 5 acres, which in effect makes the farming less efficient, but is very good for the environment and the wildlife. And what we should be doing is holding up the Isle of Man as an example of how other people should now be farming, instead of the factory farming type, because it's a lot more sustainable what we are doing. than what's happening in other places.
You've absolutely hit the nail on the head. It seems to be the case when you travel around the UK and Ireland. The farms are either getting big, intensive factory-style farmers, or some people now are moving into small holding, keeping a handful of pedigree livestock or a small amount of animals, but having a full-time job. Cash flow seems to be the driver.
Yeah, any business at the end of the day, you've got to have a cash flow, you've got to be seeing a profit to make it a long-term viable business. And as far as the Manx farms and the way we're farming, and as I said, the carbon footprint, etc., the best thing people can do from an environment and a local perspective is buy local and buy the seasonal produce that we're producing, because they are produced to a very high standard.
Well, Mr. Dale, a very busy weekend for the Beach Buddies indeed.
To say the very least. I've got another bag of rubbish here, and I don't know how many I've picked up, but the nice thing is we've recycled more this time than probably ever before, and I think more than anything else we've noticed that there's not so much rubbish around on the ground. So more bins, more efficiently emptied, and people seem to notice the difference, yeah.
It does. It looks very, very tidy here. Now, I know the rain has come a little bit early today, but what about it? People are everywhere still. They're enjoying this weekend, aren't they?
They are, but this is the Isle of Man. This year, I think it's been rain one day, sun the next. It's been weird, hasn't it?
It really has.
And you know what? I mean, there's not as many people as there were here maybe, I don't know, an hour ago, but actually quite a lot of them are undercover in the bar. So
Not a bad place to be.
No, exactly. And then there's some of them over there in the display tent and the cooking area. So I think most of them have just gone undercover. This is just the Isle of Man, isn't it? It's been a really good weekend. I think yesterday was excellent.
It really has. The numbers must have been through the roof yesterday with the sunshine as well. But what a great festival to have here on the island.
Yeah, and you know what? I think what's happened with it is it's settled now. People don't come here and wait for sort of weird surprises. They know what they're going to expect. A bit like the agricultural shows. It's on the calendar. It's been here for a while now. The same people are here, and more people come along with different types of products and drinks and food. And I mean, some of the food in the tent over there, oh my goodness.
The smell this morning here when all of the wares were getting cooked up, sausages,
Fantastic.
Bacon, whatever it was. It was just
I'm right
delicious.
alongside the guys who are cooking queenies with garlic. Oh my goodness. I could have just dived into it. It was lovely. But it's been really, really good, yeah.
But that is it. People want to taste the local food, and then in turn they go and buy it, and they will again. They have great experiences at these food and drink festivals, and I think it must be good for the island's economy.
It's got to be. I mean, I think these guys must have turned over quite a lot of money. This food court area here has been really busy. Until it started raining about 15-20 minutes ago, this place was absolutely rammed. Yesterday it was jammed all day. I think good on them too, because there's a lot of effort goes into this. I was watching them set up this morning, and they're bringing in mountains of stuff, and it's a big job. And it's not cheap to come here. You've got to pay your way. But I think it's been I think this has been the best one. I've been to every one. I think this has been the best.
Chris Neal, you've had a busy weekend too here representing
Isle of Man quinoa.
Yeah, and it looks great. The product is, it's one of these newer products, isn't it really? But people are finding their feet with it now.
Yeah, it's one of the superfoods that the class out there. Highly nutritious, dead easy, simple to cook. And we've come today, we've brought a salad and also a chocolate brownie.
Wow, that's the last thing you'd ever think it would get made into, isn't it?
So it's just really to show that it's not just for salads. Yeah. You can also bake with it. Yesterday we did a cookery demonstration with Johan Bonjus from Government House, and Johan did a power bar and also I can't think of the word. It's a fancy word, but it's cheese and quinoa all mixed up with a breadcrumb coating, deep fried. Gorgeous.
It sounds absolutely gorgeous. But like you say, people are now into their health. They want superfoods, and it's just perfect timing for the delivery of this product.
Well, hopefully, and I think it's gaining interest. The fact that it is such highly nutritious, and like I say, it's that super that they're even contemplating taking it to the moon to try and grow it in space. So we're growing it down in Bride, which is almost like the back of the moon. And yeah, I said we've got the new label and the new branding, And we're trying to get more outlets on board, trying to get people up to speed with it, what they can do with it, and just the fact that it is dead easy to cook with, and it's great for the environment, great for the economy, and great for you to eat it.
Well, this is it, isn't it? And people are keen to support local. Something that's, like you say, grown in Bride. I'm sure lots more farmers would be keen to maybe see if they can produce it, and hopefully, as your business grows, provide it for your business.
Yeah, well, we're just two young farmers just having a crack. We thought we might as well have a go and see where this gets to. And it is slowly growing. It is a lot more effort than what people would perceive any diversification to be. But if you don't put the effort in, you don't get it out. And I say it is a learning curve. Sometimes it's steeper, and sometimes things go a bit easier. But it's interesting. We're meeting some fantastic people, and I think definitely it's put us more in touch with the consumer.
That was Chris Neal from Isle of Man Quinoa, Rachel Ranson and Jason Moore from Ballykelly in Andreas, Lee Mayers and Phil Parsons from Isle of Man Meats, Bill Dale from the Beach Buddies, Andy Cooper and Brian Brumby from the Manx National Farmers Union.
A mighty selection you caught up with there. And the nice thing about it was, Kiri, that the people you spoke to there are all keen on it and keen to talk to you about it, which can be rare in this day and age, like a good steak.
It can be, but they're so proud of what they do. They're so proud to promote everything that's Manx, whether it's the NFU they're talking and trying to educate the younger generations, which I think is pretty essential, to Bill Dale tidying up all of the rubbish. The place was spotless. It was beautiful on the Saturday and really, really rainy, sort of misty in the Sunday afternoon. So it was two spouts of weather, but both times keeping the whole of the Villa Marina Gardens tidy. And then the meat producers, Rachel Ranson and Alan Tier there from Ballykelly, with their produce grown on the farm right through to the sale, and then Isle of Man Meats and Lee Mayers, working hand in hand to bring the rest of the Isle of Man's produce to the forefront. Just such proud people.
Yeah, it is. And just to clarify, I didn't mean that there's no good steaks on the Isle of Man, that they're rare. I mean that a good steak will be rare.
And that is the other thing, Simon. In the cooking theatre, they were demonstrating how to cook a good steak. And I think that's also essential, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know if you ever get the full story. It's like these recipes that, you get. I think if it's a really good one, I don't know if they always give you the full load on how to do it. You haven't heard Phil Gorn's story about making the jam, have you?
Nope.
Fair enough, I'll leave that for another time. You're listening to Countryside here on Manx Radio with Kiri Kermode and myself, Simon Clark. Well, during the Royal Manx Show and the Southern Agricultural Show, I never got the chance to talk to anyone from the Fur and Feather marquee. Well, I made up for that by talking to Nigel Taylor, who's heavily involved in it, and I got the latest news from the Fur and Feather and to find out about any up-and-coming events.
Well, it's coming up to the sort of the serious showing season for breeders of, chickens and rabbits, actually. The winter is the serious show period, because that's when birds tend to be in the best condition. The young ones are just coming up to being ready, and the old ones are just moulted. So it's a good time to be doing it. So whilst we do go along to the agricultural shows in the summer, there's not many feathers on some things at that time of year.
It's not a thing that they're in peak condition all the year round, then?
Well, no. I mean, ducks, it's quite interesting. Ducks, of course, a mallard duck, the male will lose all of its colouring and go into what's called eclipse when it's moulting, because it can't fly during that period, because they lose their wing feathers. So they become a lot more drab-looking, so they're less conspicuous to predators, and they lose their, a mallard has a green shiny head normally, so that's sort of relevant to it as well. But the best condition, as I say, is sort of early winter, and that's when we have the big shows we go to across as well. I'm talking mainly about chickens, of course, but it is the same with rabbits, with my friends who keep rabbits. But we have two big shows, sort of November, December, Telford, and that's the Poultry Club show, and the Federation show in Stafford, and that's where the sort of serious showing gets done. That's like the crufts of the chicken world, and there's 7,000 or 8,000 birds at those shows.
Yeah, I was just going to say, when you see the fur and feather tent at the Royal Manx or the Southern shows, you think, wow, there's quite a few on display. But, I mean, how does that compare? Is it nothing like these big shows?
It's not really much like it, and you've got to be into it because it's pretty noisy, Simon, to be honest.
Yeah, because when we go in and try and interview in the fur and feather, there's all sorts of squawking and noise. But does that affect the different animals that you're breeding? If you've got rabbits to show with the cockerels crowing and ducks quacking and things like that?
Well, I know our rabbit friends don't like being too near the call ducks, to be honest. Those are the little miniature ducks, which you see a few shown round about over here. They're called call ducks, and they were originally bred to be decoy ducks, to call down wild ducks to be shot. So they're specifically bred to be noisy.
And the rabbits don't particularly like them.
No, the rabbit keepers. I don't think the rabbit themselves are bothered.
Yeah, but you getting ready for the first show of the year, are you?
Yeah, I run a little show in October, which is Manx Bantam Fur and Feather show, and that's on the 6th of October. We hold it in the Memorial Hall on the main road in Union Mills every year, and I'm just getting ready to be sending out all the entry forms and details of that.
And what sort of animals are involved in that?
Well, it's the usual ones you might see at the agricultural shows, so that's chickens, ducks, pigeons, rabbits, cats, guinea pigs. But because this is only a little show in a small hall, we only have bantams. We don't have large fowl poultry, so it is just a bantam show.
All right. And what's the classification? How do you judge which is a bantam? I presume the bantams are the smaller breeds of chicken.
Yeah. Some breeds of bantams. There aren't a large version, but most breeds of poultry you'll see. I mean, the ones you'll have heard, most people have heard of: Rhode Island Reds, Light Sussex, that kind of thing.
They're sort of farm hens, are they?
Yeah, well, they were bred. Those two specifically were dual purpose bred for eating and laying eggs. Some breeds are bred more historically purely for laying eggs, some more for eating. But most breeds do have a large version and a small version. So the small one should be about a fifth the size of the large one.
What about the bantams then? I mean, are they kept just for show, or do they produce good eggs? And things
they
like
do
that?
lay. I mean, a chicken's not much cop if it doesn't lay an egg, is it? I always think, but they are bred really for their looks, but they need to still be useful, and some they're meaty as well, so they don't just lay eggs.
Yeah, the one at Union Mills I'd been to it before, and it was encouraging last year when I went that there was a lot of young handlers there.
Yeah, we do like to encourage people, and it's always great to see new people, young and old. Actually, there seem to be a lot of people who keep. Well, of course, lots of people have pet rabbits, but a lot of people increasingly have, backyard chickens and a few chickens round about. It would be great to get more people involved with showing them as well, because it's, it can be serious, but it doesn't need to be, and it's a bit of fun, and there's plenty of prizes, and plenty to go round.
Do you need a special breed to go to the show?
Well, they're judged against breed standards mostly, and each breed, like the same as sheep, dogs, cattle, everything else, each breed has got its own standard of perfection which they're supposed to aspire to. But there are other classes for crossbred classes, or just ones with utility points, meaning whether they look like they can lay an egg or they look like they'd be okay, in a Sunday dinner. So
it's the reality of it, isn't it?
Well, it historically, yes. I mean, it's interesting as well. Some of these breeds I've mentioned, the likes of Light Sussex. There's not only the large ones and small ones, but there's different types. Some are bred purely for showing, and they tend to be bigger and fluffier. And some have still been kept for what they were originally created for, which is laying eggs. So there's different types even within the same breed.
Have you got one ready that you think will take the championship this year?
I haven't got down to a short list yet. We're still a few weeks off, so it's down to a short list, and then the final few days I'll make a final choice.
Yeah. But of course, over the few years ago, I mean, you were struggling. Obviously, it affected numbers for other shows as well, with the bird flu scares and things like that.
Yeah, well, it was a big worry with bird flu, and there was the odd winter show which we postponed or cancelled because of restrictions on that, and we changed the dates as well to bring them back to sort of the back end of the year. But the last couple of years, touch wood, of course, it hasn't been prevalent, so we've been able to carry on with our normal timetable over the winter of shows.
There we are, the Secretary of the Manx Bantam Fur and Feather Society, Nigel Taylor. And it's always great to get a chat with them because, even though they're sort of hidden away a lot of the time, them shows are remarkable, and you get a chance to see the rabbits all done up, beautiful, the furry coats on them, and the pigeons and all sorts, the bantams.
A serious amount of work goes into the display of the birds and the fur animals as well. But they always think the big animals, the cattle and the sheep, always get the limelight. But there's much work in breeding and the genetics and improving their breeds coming from the UK, sourcing new stock and bringing them onto the Isle of Man. It's just as important and very, very prestigious as any of the larger animals.
Yes, it is. So that's a good show to be attending if you can make that. All right, well, that brings us to the end of this series of Countryside. Let's thank our ever-loving and patient producer for Countryside, Sarah Hendy, for her work on the programme. Thank you, Kiri, as well. And we'll be back in November with a brand new series of Countryside. So until then, from me, Simon Clark.
And me, Kiri Kermode.
We'll see you then. Ta-da.
Bye-bye.